There is something heaven wants you to understand, something Jesus has been whispering to your soul in the quiet moments when the world stops spinning and all you can hear is the soft ache of your own heart, trying to make sense of the pain you've carried for far too long. Because what broke you didn't finish you, and what tried to end you didn't have the authority to rewrite your destiny. The enemy saw your potential before you did. He heard the sound of your calling long before you understood the meaning of your pain. That's why he came for you early. That's why your childhood was attacked. That's why you were surrounded by people who didn't see you, who didn't protect you, who couldn't love you the way you deserved. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were dangerous to darkness. And Jesus wants you to know that the moments where you thought you were being destroyed were actually moments of divine construction, where heaven was quietly laying the foundation for the version of you that no weapon formed against you could ever touch. What you thought was the end was actually the breaking open of the beginning. You were not abandoned. You were anointed. And yes, you cried. Yes, you fell. Yes, you screamed into pillows and asked why. But none of that was wasted. Not one tear. Not one betrayal. Not one night you wanted to disappear. Jesus saw it all. And instead of removing you from the storm, he walked with you through it. And while you thought you were losing everything, you were actually gaining something eternal. The strength to carry a blessing so heavy, only broken vessels could hold it. You see, heaven uses what the world calls weakness. Heaven builds with pieces the world throws away. And you, beloved, were not thrown away. You were being reshaped. Every time the enemy laughed as you stumbled, Jesus was marking your steps, orchestrating a comeback the darkness never saw coming. The enemy tried to convince you that your pain disqualified you. But Jesus says your pain is the very proof that you are qualified. You are not forgotten. You are not a failure. You are a warrior who survived things others didn't. You're still standing when everything around you should have taken you down. You still hope, even after disappointment. You still believe, even when nothing makes sense. That kind of faith terrifies hell. That kind of light attracts angels. And now, Jesus is lifting your name higher in the spirit realm. Not because you're perfect, but because you said yes. You said yes to healing. Yes to forgiving those who never said sorry. Yes to rebuilding when everything around you was in ruins. Yes to still loving when your heart was shattered. And heaven has recorded every yes, every act of obedience, every prayer whispered through tears. Every time you chose faith over fear, compassion over revenge, surrender over control. You didn't see it, but angels were dispatched each time you kept going. And now, the shift has begun. Now, the evidence of your endurance is about to manifest. The enemy didn't break you. He built a fire inside you. He revealed your resilience. He confirmed what heaven already knew. You are stronger than the storm because the one who calms the storm lives in you. And though the enemy tried to bury you in shame, in doubt, in silence, in depression, in fear, Jesus is raising you now with purpose in your bones and glory in your breath. And what you're stepping into is not a recovery. It's a resurrection. Not a restart, but a reawakening. The enemy tried to make you forget who you are, but Jesus is about to remind the world. Because you're not just a survivor. You are a living testimony. You are the evidence that broken people can still be chosen. You are proof that God doesn't need perfection. He just needs your yes. And now that you've given him that, get ready, because everything is about to change. You didn't realize it at the time, but while you were walking through seasons of silence, rejection, confusion, and delay, the Spirit of God was placing you in a divine classroom, not to punish you, but to prepare you, because the calling on your life was never ordinary. Jesus knew that what you were destined to carry would require a heart that had been tested in the fire and a faith that had learned to cling to the unseen. He allowed certain things to be taken not to deprive you, but to sanctify you. You prayed for strength, and instead of giving it instantly, He allowed the wind to rise against you so that your roots would dig deeper. You prayed for clarity, and instead of answers, He allowed seasons of confusion so you would learn to trust Him even when you couldn't trace Him. You asked to be used, and heaven heard you. But first, you had to be emptied of everything that would have corrupted your assignment. And that's why it hurt. That's why they left. That's why the doors didn't open when you knocked the first time. Because what was meant for others wouldn't have fit the anointing on your life. The road they took would have destroyed you. The life they lived would have diluted your power. So Jesus, in His mercy, rerouted your journey. Yes, even through heartbreak, so that what He's about to release in your life will not be wasted. And now, the battle that once made you question your worth has become the very evidence of your worthiness. You made it through the nights where your own mind was your enemy. You pushed forward when everything in you said to quit. You chose to live when dying might have felt easier. You chose to believe when your heart was bruised with disappointment. And heaven noticed. You didn't have to be strong, but you were. Not because you felt it, but because you made a decision to keep showing up to your life, to your purpose, to the calling on your name. And though no one else saw the warfare that raged inside your spirit, Jesus did. He saw the lies the enemy whispered to you, trying to make you feel forgotten, unworthy, abandoned. But you refused to let those lies define you. You refused to curse God even when you didn't understand Him. And for that alone, you have shifted something in the realm of the Spirit. Do you feel it? That pressure building? That intensity rising in your atmosphere? That's not coincidence. That's breakthrough swelling just behind the curtain of the unseen. That's the spiritual tension before the revelation comes. Because what God is about to do in your life is directly tied to what you survived. The delay wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, you're not stepping into a watered-down blessing. You're stepping into the fullness of what God had in mind for you before the foundations of the earth were laid. He knew the trials would scar you, but He also knew the scars would be the map that led others out of their own darkness. He knew the enemy would try to shut your mouth, but instead your voice is about to echo louder than ever. Because when you speak now, you're not just sharing opinions. You're releasing fire baptized in pain and made holy through surrender. Every tear that soaked your pillow was collected. Every moment you wanted to give up but didn't added weight to your anointing. And now, Jesus is standing before you, not with condemnation, but with a robe and a ring, ready to restore everything the enemy tried to strip from you. And He's not giving you back what you lost. He's giving you better peace, better strength, better relationships, better understanding. You're no longer begging for crumbs at the tables of those who couldn't see your value. You are being seated in rooms you didn't even know existed. And it's not because you manipulated or pretended or chased anything. It's because God saw your heart when it was shattered, and he deemed it worthy of being trusted with more. You didn't break. You were broken open. And now, what comes from your life won't just heal you, it'll heal others. Get ready. You're not who you used to be. You've been transformed by the very thing that was meant to destroy you. And heaven is about to show you why the battle was this intense. You have no idea how many angels were dispatched every time you felt like you couldn't take another step, how many divine shields were raised around your spirit when the enemy tried to crush you beneath the weight of anxiety, loss, fear, or rejection. What you thought were coincidences, those moments when you barely made it through, the times you cried out into the air and somehow found the strength to keep breathing. Those were moments heaven responded, even when you didn't hear a reply. And now Jesus is pulling back the veil on the truth you couldn't yet see. Every attack on your heart was secretly shaping the authority in your voice. Every betrayal carved depth into your compassion. Every closed door became a divine reroute to something more aligned with your soul. And that pain, that unbearable, unexplainable ache that sometimes woke you in the middle of the night or made you question your worth in the mirror, that pain is the very soil in which your future is about to bloom. Because God does not waste suffering. He does not allow you to walk through shadows without giving you the power to carry light afterward. You are not coming out of this season the same. The fire didn't burn you. It refined you. It stripped away everything that was no longer part of your divine identity. The opinions of others no longer own you. The approval you used to chase now feels empty. Because God has brought you to the place where your spirit no longer feeds on the validation of people who can't see the battle scars etched into your soul. And Jesus wants you to know he never left. Not once. Not when you questioned his presence. Not when you made mistakes out of desperation. Not when you felt like you were too far gone to be rescued. Even in your rebellion, his mercy followed you. Even in your silence, his voice whispered. Even in your numbness, his love surrounded you like breath. The enemy tried to make you believe that the silence was abandonment, but in truth, it was God's presence being louder than words, holding you together when nothing else could. And now that you've made it through the wilderness, there's a roar rising in your soul. You may not feel strong, but what's been forged in your quiet, private pain is about to speak with public power. Your testimony is being written in real time, and soon, the ones who mocked your waiting will witness your rising. You'll look back and realize the ones who walked away did not reject you. They released you from a timeline that was never meant to carry your promise. The tears that soaked your hands in prayer weren't signs of weakness. They were spiritual currencies exchanged in heaven for generational blessings. Yes, blessings you'll walk in. And blessings your children's children will walk in because you chose to break the cycle. You chose not to become bitter. You chose to believe, even while bleeding. And now heaven is responding. What's coming next won't just be restoration, it will be resurrection. There are gifts inside you that have been dormant, waiting for the right season to rise. This is that season. The Lord is about to awaken spiritual authority in you that you didn't know you carried. You'll begin to notice your prayers shifting atmospheres. You'll speak and shackles will break, not just for you, but for others. The weight you carried has now become the mantle you wear. The very chains that once wrapped around your voice have been melted into keys. Keys that will unlock healing, purpose, clarity, and favor. And while others wonder how you're still standing after everything you've faced, the truth is you're not just standing, you're soaring. Because you learn that strength doesn't always roar like thunder. Sometimes it looks like getting up again when everything in you wants to quit. That is your power. That is your proof. And heaven is about to honor it. Every hidden cry, every moment you chose light when darkness seduced you, every seed you planted while trembling, every silent scream that never reached human ears but echoed through the spirit realm. They're all accounted for. They're all returning now, not just as comfort, but as confirmation. You didn't lose your future, you grew into it. The enemy tried to break you, but all he did was give you deeper roots, sharper discernment, and unshakable authority. And now Jesus says, prepare, because what's coming is not a repeat of what hurt you. It is the reward for what grew you. And now, beloved soul, the time has come for you to stop tiptoeing through life as if you were still fragile from the wounds of yesterday. For Jesus is declaring over you right now that you are no longer the same person who once wept alone in the dark, who once questioned their worth because of what others did not see in you, who once sat silently in rooms where your presence was never truly honored. You are no longer the person who had to beg for love or prove your value, because heaven has confirmed your identity in ways no human being could ever undo. You are being raised now, not by chance, not by accident, but by divine orchestration that has been written into the pages of your life since before your first breath, and everything you have walked through, even the moments that made no sense, even the heartbreaks that shattered you, even the losses you couldn't make peace with, have been sewn into the very fabric of the testimony you are about to carry into the world like a banner. Jesus wants you to know that what the enemy meant as a burial was actually a planting. And while they danced at your perceived end, God was watering your roots in secret places, places that could only flourish underground, hidden from those who would have tried to steal your promise too early. You were hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were too valuable to be exposed before the right time. And now that your spiritual soil has been tested, your bloom cannot be stopped. What you thought was your breaking was actually your becoming. You thought you were abandoned, but heaven was fortifying your soul in silence. You thought you were forgotten, but God was making room for the magnitude of your blessing. And now that room is ready. That door is open. That mantle is yours. You are not rising in pride, but in holy authority. The fire didn't destroy you. It made you radiant. The tears didn't drown you. They baptized your anointing. The delays didn't deny you. They deepened your discernment. You are no longer a victim of what happened. You are a vessel of what is being birthed through you. Every no you received, every path that closed, every person who walked away was divinely removed, because your destiny requires an atmosphere of truth, peace, and alignment. No more shrinking to be accepted. No more pretending to be okay with things that grieve your spirit. No more second-guessing your worth because others were too blind to see your light. You are walking into rooms prepared by the very hands of angels, rooms that carry the frequency of your calling, rooms where your presence will not just be noticed, but needed. And Jesus wants you to prepare, not just emotionally or mentally, but spiritually, because what's about to open will not be small. You are not stepping into comfort. You are stepping into calling. You are not returning to what was. You are being launched into what always was yours in the Spirit. Relationships will shift. Some will be restored. Some will be removed. But through it all, you will remain anchored because your confidence is no longer built on circumstance. It is rooted in the unshakable truth that God never let go of you. Your scars will speak healing. Your silence will speak wisdom. Your presence will carry a weight that cannot be faked because it is the weight of one who has walked with God through fire and came out with gold in their soul. And to those who underestimated you, to those who discarded you, to those who tried to erase you, God says, they will witness what I have always seen in you. Not to shame them, but to vindicate the faith you held when no one else believed. There is no shame in how long it took. There is no guilt in how many times you almost gave up. You made it. You are still here. And heaven is cheering for you with a roar louder than anything that ever tried to silence you. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your awakening. The enemy tried to break you, but God made you unbreakable. He made you stronger, purer, bolder, braver. So take a deep breath, beloved. Your next breath is holy. Your next step is blessed. Your next chapter is already anointed. Heaven did not abandon you. It prepared you. And now you will rise, not with pride, but with purpose. Not with anger, but with clarity. Not with revenge, but with resurrection. Your miracle is not coming. Your miracle is here. And you, chosen one, are ready to walk in it.